dealt with?
I usually pull my goggles forward and then I go hump, 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 and then the hair flies out the front of the goggles.
Welcome everybody to another video on my XR650L. You may recognize this route if you watched my XR250L through the woods video. Just headed up. We're not doing the same route, like I'm not turning around today. We're going to be doing a loop. So this is not the only spot we're going to be. I implore you to stay tuned into the video because I truly think that I'm getting better at this. The issues I'm having right now are pretty much solely microphone issues. I think honestly what it is the fairing. This fairing is a lot smaller and it's not sloped at all like my previous fairing was. So the problem with that is that it creates eddies. Like for me, I can hear just fine. The worst part of it is there's like a kind of almost like a grinding sound coming from the fairing. But with the exhaust I have on this bike, I wouldn't ride without earplugs anyway. So just the fairing being made out of metal, it likes to make this sort of grinding sound. And that's pretty much it. But the eddies, for you guys, the eddies sound awful. Or otherwise known as wind buffeting, I think. It just likes to buffet really bad. We're only going 25 right now, so it's not that bad. But once you get there up around 55, 60 miles an hour, it makes it really hard, so I'd say probably about 45 is the max. And I did leave a comment on a Friday's the Bomb video. He does much the same type of stuff that I do, just way more popular. And he told me that anything over 45 miles an hour is basically, you just can't do it. So I proved him wrong, sort of, with the video on where I rode through the Trask on the 650. Sort of proved him wrong there, but not 100%, not really. Because that fairing worked just great, but this one seems to create eddies really bad. So where the other one seemed like I could go and, high speeds, this one I can't really go at high speeds with it just because that buffeting. Even though this microphone is awesome, it's not conducive to motorcycling. That's just basically how it is. And finding one that is probably ate a bug. Probably pretty difficult. I always find it sort of, I guess, intriguing or interesting as to why people, when there's literally, in Oregon, there's got to be hundreds of miles. Maybe even I would hesitate, but I would say there's probably even a full 1,000 miles of just hiking trails. Why would you hike on a road? It's not a trail, it's a road. Significant number of people who just hike, they park their car and hike down roads. Like the road that I live on, it's not even as remote as this road, which is still paved. And people will hike on it, and it just doesn't quite make sense to me. I guess maybe where they're from in the city, a country road would be considered like a hiking trail, I guess, compared to a super urban environment. But even then, it just seems like you could go to an actual hiking trail and get a lot more out of it. I'm trying not to hit all these puddles because I'm really heavy today, so we're going camping again, and hopefully this time I can get a little footage of the actual camping going on. Last time I wasn't able to get that, so hopefully I can get it this time. So today's really humid. Yesterday I did some work on the bike. I did the first thing I did was I had to figure out why it was popping on deceleration, and I saw a bunch of people saying it could be spark plug or valve. So my ultimate goal is to check the valves. But I ended up first checking the carburetor for vacuum leaks, because that can be a big deal. And I know it can because I have a Ford Escort as well, and those things are notorious for having PCV, not the valve, but the actual hose. They can have little teeny like cracks in them, just not even visible to the naked eye cracks. And this is nice, guys. When I was doing maintenance yesterday, I found out that my carburetor boot was not so much a boot as like a tube with like a see-through hole in it. You know, like basically you could look through from the left-hand side of the bike to the right-hand side of the bike through the carburetor boot. And that's supposed to be an airtight seal. To the best of my knowledge, that is supposed to be an airtight seal. And when I took the spark plug out and checked the valves, the left intake valve was just the slightest bit tight. I mean, we're talking like half a thou. Very, very small. And so that wasn't, I knew that probably wasn't what was causing hard starting and all that stuff. What it ended up being was that carburetor boot, and the spark plug was like ghost white on the end. So it had been like that for a little while, and I think it ultimately started one of the times that I pulled the carburetor off the bike. Because I went to jet it recently. I'm running a 55 Pilot on a 158 main, because I've heard for a lot of people that's pretty good at sea level, and it runs them up to 16,000 feet, which is awesome. So ultimately it would be great to not have to jet when I go to Colorado this summer, but I may have to, so we'll see. But yeah, I would rather not have to jet it for Colorado, but it'll probably end up happening anyway, just because I kind of want it to run good. We're not going to be below 7,000 feet anyway, so I'll just jet it for 7,000. Because there are going to be some times where I've heard that you get up to around 13 or 14,000 feet, and that's up there. That'd be about at the absolute last little bit this carb's got, and you could probably, you know, fiddle with the Pilot jet. I have an adjustable screw from Friday's the Bomb, and it works great. I love it. I use it pretty frequently now, that's for sure. Adjusting that really helps out, and you can fiddle with it on the road all day. But once you get up there really high, you're going to have problems. You're going to burn lots of gas, you know, stuff like that. So I'm just hoping that it'll be all ready to go, all good by the time we get going out there. That carburetor boot, even if it didn't fix the popping entirely, it definitely did. I didn't even know there was a campsite back there. It definitely did help with the power in the low end, man. My butt dyno is telling me that this thing has gobs more torque in the low end. because it just felt like it was lacking before, and I truly thought it was the jets, and now I'm pretty convinced that it was that boot. So hopefully that was the case, and I think it was, just because when I tried to pop a wheelie, normally when I pop wheelies I have to yard on it, and I cannot ride wheelies. I have never even tried picking up that technique. But when I was popping a wheelie, it came right up. It's nice to just chill out and relax too when you're riding. I remember riding the Central Oregon route. It was awful. I mean, it was an amazing ride, but there were some parts of it, all the gravel and stuff, where I was having to go so fast all the time. It just wasn't the greatest. Just because, like, there was one time, I mean, because we were pushing it. There were some times we were going, you know, fast around corners. I was having to plan every single corner and pick lines and stuff like that on just a plain gravel road, and a lot of them were washboarded and stuff like that, so they're really slick. And the tires I had weren't exactly, they were Dunlop D606s. They're not exactly the most stable tire on gravel, on loose gravel. And there was one time that I was riding, and it was a pretty smooth gravel road. It wasn't super hard packed, but it wasn't soft either. I would not say it was soft. And I was probably going, I don't know, 40, 45, and all of a sudden the corner just got tighter and tighter and tighter, and there was no way to like steer out of it or anything. So I just went into the uphill, because it was on a cliff pretty much. I just went into the uphill side of the ditch, and thankfully there were no sticks, there was nothing, and I was only going maybe 10 miles an hour by the time I hit it. If there would have been sticks and stuff, 10 miles an hour is fast. That's a fast crash on a dirt bike, on a big bike. So if it would have done that, there's a chance that I could have broken something or twisted something, and it would have really ended that trip for me. But it really wasn't that bad. I rode in, couldn't have picked a better corner to go wide on, and it all ended up being just fine. That's why we wear motorcycle boots, fellas, because I'm pretty wet now. Although these aren't exactly waterproof anymore, because I put knee braces on, so they don't seal up very well. Only waterproof up maybe 3 inches or so. Wow. That guy's an illegalist. Got a Suzuki dirt bike up here. Now there's definitely no OHV in this area. There's probably no OHV anywhere close to here. Closest place is out in Estacada. Holy mother. And good thing I wasn't planning on camping here. It's funny because that number of people pales in comparison to the number of people who were here on Labor Day weekend last year. The line of cars from when we hit the asphalt the first time back there, the line of cars was all the way from that parking lot out to the road, to Highway 26. Like, I'm not even kidding you. This lake is popular. And it's crazy to me too, because it's so small, you know, like it's really not that big of a lake. But it's the closest one that's really anything to speak of in relation to Portland.